This conference will now be recorded.
Do you like it dark in here? Should we leave it dark?
I'm okay. Quick and easy. I got 6 o'clock. We'll call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I believe we don't have any amendments to the agenda, so I just need adoption of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Accounts payable, Fred.
Okay, I was just looking down here the other day, looking at that, the big one is, I guess, the flashing beacons that's coming out of a grant. And the shuffler, that's AR, you can see that. I guess I didn't have any other big red flags. Everything else is pretty standard, unless anybody else has any questions on it.
I guess the only thing I have with the one to talk about flashing beacons, this goes down to another consent agenda. I just had some concerns with some of the concrete work around it. I know the engineers are involved, I can keep them involved too. They're coming back to fix some of that. And I know there's a retainage fee and also a bond. I talked to Bill Ingram about that, so he says it will be taken care of. I just was concerned about it before, about if we should actually pay it or not until it's further resolved, but talking with Bill, it seems like it's okay. So,
I mean, a question I assume for Jeff is, I assume you've seen those?
Yeah.
I mean,
Scott Honeyke and I walked it today. Scott took photos of all the holes where there was splatter, anywhere that there was splatter like that and overrun of concrete or whatever. He said they're gonna bring a wheel in and polish it back up and do that. So at what point that gets accomplished, I don't know, but it is all documented today, so.
I thought Bill mentioned next week
Okay.
is the date that we have.
is that something that's an easy fix, that we can still get it back to normal, or is that something that's gonna look?
It's not terrible. I mean, some of the overrun is, a little bit is the sealer, I mean, when they sprayed, they oversprayed, and then you sprayed on the concrete that hadn't had sealer for years, or whatever. So you're gonna see that for a little while, until it soaks in and goes away. That's just that kind of that white appearance you're getting. But there is a little bit of concrete chunks on some of the ped ramps, or the ADA compliant iron pieces there. So I don't think it's more than a little bit of chiseling and then polishing on some of them poles.
Thank you.
I can go either way. I mean, do we want to hold back that until it's done? Is it that big of an issue, or is it something that?
I don't believe it is.
Okay.
I think they'll accomplish what they need to on there.
Yeah,
And I think that's what the conversation with Bill was, that it's gonna get done, and it's not a big item, so I guess I'm okay with it, but
right, and it's the bond and the retainage, that's what that's there for as well. So, and they've been great to work with, so.
So we put big signs up that say, push the button.
it's crazy. I mean,
Well-
I see it all the time. People will be like standing there, and I'm like, push the button, push the button. But once they push the button, it's great. I've seen it down the road, and when they hit it, it lights it up. And as PD, if they're not stopping within a reasonable time, let's pull them over and say, hey,
Yeah,
That's
we've been
why we-
writing tickets. We've had 3 in the last 2 weeks that have been cited for it.
and I assume as PD, it definitely is help.
Oh, yeah, it's a stark difference. People see those flashing beacons and they're stopping. But again, you need people to hit the button.
But it was that way before we even got the beacon. And when they weren't stopping, you have to hit the button. And then, I think Billy Went now hits the button too, but sometimes he would,
Show intent that you're trying to cross.
yeah.
But they are working great when they do hit the button. Some lights are very, very good.
I think the ones even up on the top are great too. Because it's perfect.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion to pay the accounts payable, but there is, told me coming up with the consent agenda, some of these draws that are already in here, so pending what we do there. I make a motion that we pay the accounts payable.
For 173, 648, 72?
Sure.
Okay. And I think, we talked about that a little bit. We are going to change this. We are going to put the accounts payable after the consent agenda going forward. Because I know we've done it kind of backwards, that we're approving accounts payable before we approve a consent agenda on these pay requests. So we'll change that here probably going forward.
Yeah, we'll look at it for sure. And yeah, because I think the ordinance kind of lays out the order of the meeting, whether that's set in stone or not. Yeah, we'll look at it and move things around as needed.
Second that.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Thanks, Fred. Public comments. We'll open the public comment portion. The individuals may address the city council about any items of concern. Speakers must state their name and limit their remarks to 5 minutes. I will close the public comment portion and move to consent agenda. All items listed on the consent agenda are considered routine by the council and will be approved by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items unless a council member requests, in which the case or item will be removed from the consent agenda and be considered its normal sequence on agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Let's jump down to new business 8A, wastewater treatment plant motor replacement. Jeff Myers.
You need little fingers like mine. There we go.
So yeah, at the wastewater plant, we were looking at upgrading our 758 4-year-old lawnmower, 200 hours on it. We got together with John Deere and we were looking at what was the best time to trade. And right now is a very good trade-in value, and we've utilized the 4 years of warranty. All 700 series mowers come with a 4-year 700 hour. We're putting about 50 hours on a year. It is getting used a little bit for with the street department. They use it for the library hill back here, a hill at East Park, and then the hill by the park entrance along 58. So yeah, we just kind of found it's looking like it's going to be about a $1,440 a year cost of ownership at this rate if we continue that. It's a trade difference of $57.74. And we kind of we're looking at continuing doing that 4-year, utilize the 4-year warranty and then trade.
Well, I think they'll use it a little bit more. I did see them doing the bank out here too, down towards the river. Plus, we got to talk more about the Jefferson banks. Some of those that we had talked about before, who mows those. I know they've used that on those banks as well. Kind of sticks on the bank pretty well, better than the zero-turn mowers. So, yeah, it'll get pretty good use.
Well, that's that 4x4, right?
Yeah.
All
Correct.
year.
Yeah, correct. The only thing we are changing is we are going from the diesel to a gas all-wheel steer. Still 4-wheel drive, but it'll be
Yeah, but
all-wheel
all-wheel
steer.
steer.
But trading the diesel motor out for all-wheel steer.
What's your reasoning on that? Just,
Basically, with the diesel, we were overheating, but from what I hear, the gases will also overheat. But the intake is right back, kind of between your legs underneath the steering wheel, and we're warming up, it kills the deck. But we were hoping to eliminate that. We were kind of told that with the gas engines, that would eliminate that. But well, I've heard different too, so.
We run the gas too, and if you're not cleaning the vents on the gas too. Now I heard, they didn't have an automatic shut off on the gas, but now these new ones do the same thing as the diesels, automatic shut off. So, I mean, you gotta clean, that's what we call our guys, like, constant thing, even on days when the cottonwoods, I mean, there's many times you gotta clean that through the day, but we're only using it 50 hours. So I think you're gonna have the same, I think that comes into educating that we have to clean them out.
Is that a mower that can handle a snow blower or a blade on front? Yep. If ever needed? Yep.
The 700s are there, yeah, they're.
Yeah.
that's their
They're-
Cadillac, yeah.
Okay. We talked about certain options of possibly the sidewalks on 6, or on 6, Highway 6 and south at one time, so just curious.
Yep, I believe those are plumbed. They got forward hydraulics, Fred, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but
What's that?
they come with forward hydraulics, don't they? Yep, standard.
I'll make that motion to approve that,
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 500. Thanks, Jeff. We'll jump to 8B, set a public hearing for ordinance 2025-03, Rural Services District. Miles.
Yes, Mayor Council. Starting in 2020, Goodhue County requests that every city within the county approves the rural service district for parcels that are rural in character each year. And basically what this means is that these properties are taxed at 80% of the total tax rate. And this is typically because the properties don't generate the same amount of tax revenue as something commercial or urban in character. And so these properties are all outside of town for the most part. And I have to verify them each year. And so I verified them and I've brought the ordinance before you tonight. And all we're doing tonight is just setting a public hearing for June 18th for our regular ordinance process. And this process is mandated by a state statute as well. So this is not something that we can really get out of. All we're doing tonight is just setting a public hearing for approving the rural service districts for the next tax year.
Perfect. And this is something we do every year. So it's, yeah. So
Looking to set the public hearing at the June 18th
Yep.
meeting?
And there was no changes in properties this year. I didn't have to remove any from the tax district. Last year, one was removed because they added solar panels on the property, which made it commercial in value. But this year there was no changes.
you said that was
June 18th, our next meeting, yep.
Do we have a time that we have to set it for?
6:05 or usually.
Usually do
yeah.
6:05. It could be on or about 6 PM.
I'll make a motion to set the ordinance, is it a hearing? On number 2025-03 at 6:05 PM on June 18th.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 500. Thanks, Miles. 8C, Trailhead Landscaping quote. Brian?
Yes, we had some winter kill out there, a lot of cold and not much snow early on, so we had some casualties. This is an area we really want to keep looking nice. People just visit up here constantly. It's a constant flow of cars looking at that bridge, walking around up here. So, it's a little bit of money to get those holes filled in out there, but I think it's worth it. So looking for whatever amount it was, I can't remember.
$1,088.
$1,088 to put back the plants that didn't make it.
And where's that coming out of? Fund-wise? Contingency?
Or
Oh,
Trails.
trail.
Trailhead.
What's that complete dollar amount we have that budgeted for? Do you know that? I
I
mean,
don't know. right
okay.
now.
I assume we have enough in there for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the dollar amount of $1,088 to improve the trailhead.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? You're gonna abstain? Does he have to abstain since he's,
It looks better.
does it? Okay, okay. I mean,
It's easy.
since he's not working there, well, he still should be. the way it sounds.
If it was gonna be closed, I wouldn't have been abstaining.
Yeah. Okay, passes 401. Thanks, Brian. July council meeting. Normally in Julys, we usually do one meeting. Just because of the holiday, July 4th lands up. So we're talking about deleting or canceling the July 3rd meeting and just having the 17th, which is normal.
Yep.
So we're just canceling July 3rd because that's the night before July 4th. And I think we've done that for many years, haven't we, Kim? That we've only had one meeting in July.
If we've had heavy construction years, then we would sometimes have a meeting in July because we had so many pay requests coming through, but with this year's an off year, so.
So,
And I had my memo to move it to the 11th just because that was the next week, but it makes way more sense to just
We'll
Leave the
cancel
one at the
July 3rd
17th.
and just have one meeting in July for the 17th.
Yeah, that way we're 3 weeks between meetings each
Yeah.
way rather than 4 weeks one way, so.
Yeah, so I just need approval to cancel the July 3rd council meeting and still keep the 7th.
I'll make that motion.
Any further discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 5-0-0. Let's do reports. Brian?
Yep, the pool design is still going on. They're waiting for soil borings back. Design should be done in July sometime with bids to follow right after that. Still hoping to start construction in August. We'll have some discussion when we get bids back on where we're at with fundraising, just to make sure council is comfortable with proceeding with construction with the dollars that we have at the time. And if we think we'll be generating some more once the construction has started and people see that something's happening. Let's see, I typed out a list, left it on the copier. North Zumbro Sanitary District, we have been moved forward in each of Senator Klobuchar and Senator Smith's congressionally directed bonding or congressionally directed spending requests. So we've been moved forward to the committee for hoping that gets funded, and we are also moved forward in Representative Finstead's. So all three of them have seen the value in our project and moved our project forward for funding. So hopefully we can realize some funding out of that. I think we're asking for around $10 million, give or take.
And that's on
In
the
federal
federal
dollar,
dollars.
that's the federal level, yep. And then the state is still trying to iron out the budget. That's job number one for them. So I have to close things down. And they haven't really talked about bonding so very much yet, from what we understand. So we're not, well, we hear different opinions of whether there'll be a bonding bill this year or not up at the state. But it really doesn't affect the sanitary district yet. Especially if we get some federal dollars. We're still within schedule. We've got design left to do. If we get the federal dollars, then we can move into some site excavation, things like that, and look for the next year bonding bill from the state to help us out with that. And there's also PSIG dollars that we're asking for. So none of this has really slowed down or stopped the sanitary district. We're still moving forward. There's been some questions about the flags on 4th Street because we were studying different ways to bring Wanamingo through town, their pipes. For the citizens up there, you can remove those flags. You can take them out of there. I just talked to Scott Honeyke today and he said, yep, they can take those out of there. There will be some soil boring going on up there on the boulevards. So there'll be a round hole in the boulevard. That'll be refilled and seeded. But yeah, don't have to move around the flags anymore. So. I think that's on the opposite side from you, Kim, wasn't it?
No,
No, it was on your side?
no.
Did Kevin mow over the flags or did he move them? So anyway, they can come out. And then we have a work session on next Thursday, the 12th at 4:30, if you recall. I wanted to be early because we had to get out of here for something. But yeah, so 4:30 next Thursday is what I had in the minutes for a work session. And we'll just have budget and a couple other things on there. We're gonna talk about some chloride on gravel roads within the city, and a couple other things. But
Should be
it should be quick, yep. Well, it'll be quick, Todd says.
Yeah.
I think that's it. Oh, and then I told you we're having babies tonight. Well, my daughter is about 10 o'clock, so.
Congrats.
Thank you.
That it?
That's it.
Chief?
So last week, Brian and I met with the League of Minnesota Cities and Benchmark Analytics to go over a survey that I completed in regards to reducing liability, injury, and so forth. And so based on that survey that I completed, they came up with a number of recommendations that the league has been studying for a number of years. Some of these things that they've been basically suggesting we've been doing, which is great. So they did have, I know Tracy Steele or Style, he was one of the participants in this discussion. I met with him months after I started working here. And he came to do some evaluation stuff. And this is kind of stuff way back then that they kind of started this whole program. And so he's certainly seen a progression toward, making those improvements. And so that's good. There's some things that we had been taking into consideration, doing some new things. And so they had a lot of really good information to share with us. And if we can show that we comply with these type of things, they could potentially reduce insurance rates, which is always a good thing. And so that was a very successful meeting. With that said, our body worn camera, that was one of the things that was part of that whole research study. And with that, we just received our refresh of new body cams. So Motorola made good. They did exactly as they said. They would give us our next run of body cams. And so Sergeant Pasquale is going to mess with them tonight to see if we can deploy them without any help. So we'll see if they work. And other than that, that's all I got.
Can I piggyback on the league thing that it was really good. They're concerned about officer safety, well-being, loss control, kind of all of that stuff, and then make good suggestions on, well, you might look at this, you might look at that. But they were very impressed with the strides that we've made and the things we put in place in all those aspects. So it was good to hear.
I got a couple questions on the body cams. Was it 2 years ago we got the body cams?
Gosh, I think 3.
3
Yeah,
years?
because we just got the refresh, so they told us that we'd get new ones 3 years from.
So are we looking at another refresh in another 3 years?
I don't know what the next step would be after the next 3 years, and I probably won't care at that point. Someone else will deal with that.
So, I mean, my question or concern is when it comes to refresh, what is it gonna cost us?
Sure.
And do we need to start budgeting, or do we have that in the budget?
I think as long as we're budgeting like we are, I think it's a good question. I think this is kind of part of the subscription because we're actually paying for all this. We have been paying for this. Every year we're paying a fairly sizable bill for the software as well as the equipment. So it's just part of what we paid for. Now, the contract will probably change a little bit. That's probably what I suspect. It's kind of like Axon with our tasers. The next time these get refreshed, it's going to be done completely different than they've done in the past. So, because they're also doing the same type of thing where you're a subscriber. You're not an owner. They actually still own this stuff. You get new stuff. If it breaks, it's kind of like a copier lease. Something breaks, we're going to come fix that. It's no cost to you. Here's your free ink cartridges.
And that's probably the best way to go when it comes to tasers and the body cams.
Well,
if you know what the price is, yeah.
Functional, and you don't worry about failure so much. Not that it doesn't, but it's not our problem financially in that aspect.
So it just be something to keep an eye on, which you probably aren't going to worry about, but somebody will, that we're not getting stuck with a $100,000 bill for cameras that is built into the contract.
Oh yeah, it's all part of the equipment budgeting and all that. And Pat's right in the fact that a surprise is tough to deal with, when something breaks. A subscription where you're paying a fixed amount, that's a lot easier to budget for.
Our squad videos a little different. Those things they're not refreshing those. They're also hard to reinstall. I mean, you don't want to just pop that out 3 years from now and through. Those things are meant to last longer. And so, the hope is that, 10 years, we should be prepared. And we've got that already set up in our budgets to do that, to replace the squad video systems. So.
And I assume we keep up with what Goodhue County is doing to be.
Kinda, yeah, because I mean, they're running the same system we are. We had chiefs meeting today. I was telling Brian that there's, the county attorney is going to probably be requesting WatchGuard users to get an adapter because they're going to use a record management system that they can pull our data in and it'll work flawlessly so they can manage our body cam video and squad video and stuff like that. And the county, they're also WatchGuard users. They've already looked into what it's going to cost. And their initial quote was $2,500 one-time cost. And that's part of software. It's not a piece of hardware. And so that's going to be coming down. I assume that won't happen until next year ultimately. So we're probably going to want to increase our IT expense by a one-time $2,500 because I don't see how we're not going to get around that. And it's going to be cheaper in the long run anyway because it allows them to automatically redact, automatically transcribe rather than having a human do it all. So.
Perfect. Any more questions for Chief? Thanks, Chief.
Yep.
Jeff?
I never figured it out.
Got it though. Yeah, a couple updates. Schumacher excavating, the city staff performed a lead water line replacement on 10th Street and Highway 58 back on May 22nd. You might have seen that happening. The majority of the trestle bridge repairs are complete. Abutments and anchoring. We're supposed to be poured today. I didn't get back out there again. So the last 7 foot of decking can be installed and the chain link fence can be stretched so that can be buttoned up. The bathhouse is in the campground. The footing's been poured. Block is up to floor level and is awaiting backfill, so that can move forward with rough-in plumbing. And then today, Schumacher Excavating and city staff replaced a 12-inch gate valve at the south booster station that would not fully terminate or close. Water was shut off to roughly 200 homes and restored within 3 hours. It went very well.
What's the ETA on the bridge being open? Trestle?
Wednesday is what I'm hearing.
Okay.
Sorry.
I didn't get back there again to see if after lunch there, they were supposed to have been there and poured the abutments or whatever.
Yeah, tomorrow, it sounds like.
Okay.
Scott was out there when he was in here and he said they were coming back tomorrow to do it, sound like, so.
Okay.
But last I heard, they were hoping to be open Wednesday. I don't know if that's your thought too.
Yeah, I would think so. If they get that done, they got to do that anchoring pole deal and then
Stretch the
7
fence.
foot of boards and stretch the fence basically there.
Yep.
Perfect. I know I've had a couple people ask, when's that going to be open? When's that going to be open?
Yes.
Perfect.
I walk with one every day. That is.
Anything else, Jeff?
Nope, that's it.
Thanks, Jeff. James?
Thanks, Mayor. Just want to mention that we're fully staffed now and back open on the weekends again on Saturdays. So just want to mention that. This Saturday in particular, we kick off our big summer program for the library. Summer gets to be a really busy time for us. We've had over 250 people a day this week. So it gets to be a busy time for us. So that's all I had. Thank you.
Perfect. Thanks, James. Kimberly?
Nothing tonight.
Miles?
Yes, Mayor Council, just a few notes. Code Committee will come back on June 17th to review hopefully a final draft of the RV ordinance, pending any changes and approval. So hopefully that's something to look forward to. Planning Commission needs a new commissioner as well as Code Committee as well. So we're looking for 2 people, 1 for each. Hopefully that can fill those roles. Still looking. We're going to make a social media kind of blast to hopefully garner some more interest. And then in addition, Planning Commission will probably be reviewing next week. I just added it today. Zoning codification for our zoning ordinance. Right now, our zoning code is scanned in PDF from paper. And so we're kind of hoping that maybe we can digitize it a little bit better so it's a little bit more accessible, easier to search because it's used an awful lot. And so hopefully that's something we can look at, but we'll be bringing some more research from some contractors next week as well. That's all.
Work session. Yeah, we'll talk about that at the work session as well. This is something we've talked about before and really didn't go anywhere with it. So I asked Miles to pull some information again and we'll bring it back and talk about it at the work session, I think, right? On the 12th, and then move forward from there. There's a couple of considerations. The zoning ordinance needs to be rewritten, a lot of it, as well as put in a format that can be searchable, a little more searchable than what it is now. And we know the ordinances are being tweaked as we go here by the committee, the code committee. So, yeah, no, thanks to Miles for putting that together so quick. I think I just asked him about it yesterday. He's got stuff already today, so we'll be bringing that forward as well. And then at some point, we're going to have to talk about a updated strategic plan and comp plan as well. I don't know if we've got money put away for that, Kim. I haven't really talked about that yet either, but it's coming as well.
How are we coming on wage study?
Oh, yes. I should have a complete study with a few options of implementation for the council by the time we get to the work session, I hope. I thought I'd have it by now, but Tessa from DDA is working on that. And
That'll be a completed wage study?
it'll be all complete. Yep. The matrix will be all updated, and then the methodology, or 3 different methodologies, will be presented to the council. I think 3, maybe 4. We've discussed different things about how to implement. And so, yeah, you'll have some decisions to make there based on that, but it should be real soon, because we're neck deep in budgeting, and we need that because we need to know what that's going to do to the budgeting and the levy. And we also have negotiations coming up, so we want to get that, we want to have that in place before we go to negotiations as well. So, and then what it'll do is make sure that we're all at market. All of our positions will be at market, which helps us retain and helps us recruit and hire people. If you fall behind market, then you have a whole lot of catching up to do at some point, like you guys did in, I think, 2020 when you did the study.
Yeah, 2020, 2021.
Yeah, so there's been a desire by council to stay up to date. And then if you remember, this program that we're signed up for will review 1/3 of the positions every year. So every 3 years, it'll be all reviewed. This time they did half last year and half this year. So we've got the whole thing, and we're kind of starting from square one again. So, but soon.
Perfect. Anything else, Miles? I have nothing. Bob?
I have nothing tonight.
Joan? Kevin? Night, Fred? Meeting adjourned.